Yeah, I've been getting off to a good start in the matches, playing aggressive game style. Yeah, and I think physically have, played really well, and yeah, I'm not really sure.
Hey Danielle, congrats. When you say you're not really sure, is it like you're stumped as to how this has happened, or are you just stumped as to how to articulate how it's happened?
Well, I think a little bit of both, right? I mean, I'm playing well, and so I feel like anything I don't want to be like tooting my own horn here, and I want to be able to articulate some thoughts on the match. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to ask.
How would you compare this, how you're playing now, to other times when you've played well in your career? Is there a certain feeling you have at this moment, and is it different, better, worse than other times when you got on rolls?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these sports psychology books and things that they talk about, like high level sports, and they talk about like being in the zone and it almost feeling like you're hitting beach balls. I think it can feel like that at times, and that's a good thing. And in other times that I've played well, and have had deep runs in tournaments, it's been like that. And then in other times, there's days it's like going out to the golf range and having a bad day and you're missing shots. But right now I'm timing the ball really well. And I think I've made some physical adjustments too that's kind of helped me be able to kind of control my shots more and hit them with more accuracy and precision. I've been working on that for a while, and it's hard to sometimes make those types of changes. Not big changes, but small changes. And so I think that's kind of just helped me like get a little bit more consistent in these points, and bring it in the court a little more.
Is it something specific, these little changes, is it something you thought of, someone else thought of it? And, is it, like you said, it's at this stage of your career when you do have to make a change like that, how hard is it? The other thing I wanted to ask you is about your dog. You mentioned that you have your dog with you when you're close to home, that it feels more, it's just more comfortable maybe to be in Florida, close to home. You can bring your doggy along.
Yeah.
What's the dog's name? What kind of dog is it? Thank you.
Yeah, so two different questions. So going back to the first part of that, I don't want to give too many of my secrets away, right? Yeah, but I can give a little bit of insight. I feel like one of the things that I've been working on over the course of my career is having good body control. I think in our sport, and it being a rotational sport, the tendency to rotate and to use a lot of power and force. Well, I'm still doing that. I think I've improved a lot of my core strength, and so that's helped me be able to stay a little bit more still. So I think that's helping. And that is something I think a lot of coaches that I've worked with over the years, and people in general, like even at a basic level, if you're taking tennis lessons, they tell you to do. And so sometimes it's the really simple things that you have to kind of remind yourself of. I hear coaches on court with really high level players here telling their players to stay still and keep their body under control, and I hear that at the country club when you're playing next to a 4.5 player and they're working on their forehand. So I've been working on that. I've gotten that idea just I've been in tennis for a while. So and the second part, Quincy is my little dog. He is very adorable. He is a sophisticated gentleman, and I call him Mr. Q. He has been here with me during the entire event. He's at daycare right now. He is a very spoiled gentleman, with a very big personality. I'm sure some of you have probably seen him running around here at some point. But he doesn't come on the match days because he's my Velcro dog and he doesn't like leaving my side. He has a lot of anxiety when, even if like he was sitting there and I'm here, he doesn't want the distance. So, yeah, so he's my little baby. He's lived a very spoiled life. I like to cook. Quincy gets to partake in some pretty fabulous meals. Yeah.
What kind of dog is Quincy?
Quincy's a mix. Yeah, he's cute. I think he's mostly poodle, so yeah, he's a cutie. I'm sure people can check him out on my Instagram.
Thanks.
I saw on television you were saying that these kind of positive results don't really make you change your plans for the future in terms of leaving the sport at the end of the year. But has it actually, in a way, has it helped you? Do you think psychologically? Do you play with more freedom when you don't have the stress of looking beyond the horizon as much?
Well, I mean, I guess it just depends, right? Like you can think about it in many different ways. I don't really think about it that much, to be honest. I mean, I feel like as a professional athlete, you're so consumed in your day-to-day and your routines, getting ready, preparing, recovering, maintaining your strength. Like all of the things that go into our day-to-day can be very consuming. And so I don't really have like a lot of time, quite honestly, to be like, well, I'm retiring at the end of the year. So yeah, I think I don't have as much pressure on me because, I only got a few more tournaments left. Or I could sit there and be like, well, I've only got a few tournaments left, and like if I don't do this now, like what the heck am I doing, right? So you can have different ways of thinking about it, but I just don't really feel like I have the time to kind of sit and ponder and get too deep into the thoughts, because honestly, yeah, the day to day, like with us as athletes, is a lot. I feel like the fans don't get to see that as much. It's more than a 9-to-5 job, because it's just around the clock. And so honestly, I'm just so consumed with doing all the things I need to do to get prepared for the next day. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I feel pretty relaxed. That could be due to a number of things. I've got a new hobby. I'm playing some more golf, running more, Pilates, all of these different things. So my dog's here. I'm feeling relaxed because I get to be with him at night. I don't know. Yeah. But it's a good question. I'm still trying to figure it out too.
Danielle, in January, the loss to Iga, from the outside, it would have been very easy for me, I guess I'll speak for me, to assume, wow, it's going to take her a while to get over that. She was so close, things like that. But you continued to play so well, especially in the Middle East, and bounce back well. And I'm curious, given the circumstances of everything, why do you think that was, that it didn't sink you in a way that it could have sunk any player?
Well, I do think, I am a professional athlete, and I think professional athletes have a different mindset between success and failures. And the reality is that match was very close. I had some opportunities. Iga played extremely well. I didn't do a whole lot wrong. Iga played at a high level, and the reality is that she's number one in the world. She has a whole list of accomplishments, and I was the underdog that match. I was not supposed to win that match. And I think it would be worse if I lost to someone who was ranked outside of the top 200. It would be worse if I lost 0-0. It would be worse if I would have rolled my ankle. And so at the end of the day, like, yeah, the match was close, but it's really like we have tournaments every single week, and I don't think anyone's defined by one match or one loss, and I don't think anyone's, it's certainly something that I haven't been hanging my head up over. I think people that aren't as involved in professional sports and maybe fans probably think, ouch, like that really hurts, but we're very resilient. All of us are. And I think our ability to recover quickly from when things don't go our way, whether it's a tough couple of points on court, whether it's a tough match, whether it's injuries, whether it's losing a loved one, whether it's like, we're very resilient people. And I think that's the biggest difference, is that for professional athletes, we have a totally different mindset with how we deal with success and failures.
I want to ask back to the question that Simon had asked. What if you just have a great year right now? You're on this roll right now. If you just have tremendous results, is the decision to retire, is that a hard decision, or is that a soft decision that could maybe change based on how you do this year?
You know, I find it so interesting because I kind of felt like when I was going, when I was announcing my retirement, everyone's been so like congratulating me and so excited for me. But then on the other hand, like I feel like I've had to justify my decision a lot. And I feel like if I was a guy, I probably wouldn't have to justify it that much. And like it's really that part really.
If you're playing really well, or you're a guy or a girl, if any guy is playing at the top of his game and rolling through tournaments the way you are, you would think like, I don't know, maybe there's more in me, maybe I should stay. I
don't
it's
know.
a gender thing, but
No, but I mean, I think it's really interesting how in a lot of different situations, I've had to kind of justify the reasons behind retirement. I'm living with a chronic inflammatory disease that affects your ability to get pregnant. And so that's like a deeply like personal situation. And I've kind of explained that from time to time. And, yeah, I think it's a good question, but I think at the end of the day, like my choice, like this is my personal choice, and this is so much more to do than just tennis and my career. And I'm enjoying my career. I'm having a lot of fun. I love coming out here and competing. But at the end of the day, like this is a really big like life decision, and yeah, I think that should be like pretty understandable. Yeah.
That thing you said before about mindset and being resilient and things like that, did it take you a while to learn that, or did you always have that from the moment you started on the tour? And what was the process like of adopting that?
Yeah, I think as we go from like being young juniors and learning how to play tennis and then competing, right? And at a young age in junior tennis, you play a lot of tournaments, and a lot of those weeks you're not always winning. You have sometimes more tournaments you're losing in than winning, and then you go to college and you play for a team, you play for something bigger than yourself. And I think as you through each different stage, you're trying to evolve mentally, right? Like you're trying to make improvements in your game physically. You're trying to evolve tactically. You're trying to expand your skill set. But the mental part's like one of the most important things. And I do think that the evolution of that for me has been something that I've focused on, just like pretty much every other player on tour. I don't think that when you start your career, you always handle wins and losses in a way that is super healthy. I think it can take some type of, it takes a concentrated effort. It takes reframing how we talk about wins and losses, how we sit down and talk about the matches and draw on the positives and the things, the negatives, or the things that we can improve on. So it has been something I've spent a lot of time working on. And I think with me, I definitely have that kind of like perfectionist mentality. And I'm very hyper focused when I'm out on court. And so a lot of times it's, present, like being in that. But then sometimes when you have a hard loss, it can be really challenging, and you can feel kind of down in the dumps for a few weeks. So that has been something that I've had to work on, I think, just like most of the players on tour, because it's not easy. This is an individual sport too. You don't have the camaraderie of being on the team and having people to kind of like pick you up and lift your spirits when you're down in the dumps. So I have had to spend a lot of time working on that. And I give a lot of credit to the different sports psychologists that I've worked with, because I feel like they've been able to help train my mind to have a healthy outlook on wins and losses and that kind of thing. Yeah.
If I could just ask, looking ahead, obviously you could play Jess in a all kind of Floridian final here in my or semifinal in Miami, or you could play Alexandrova. Can you talk first of all just about what it would be like to play Jess for one of the biggest finals in your career, and then obviously Alexandrova, who's been a wrecking ball so far.
Yeah, Jess and I have known each other for a long time, both from Florida, and have had some really great battles. I've played Jess here, I think, once before, and then obviously many times outside of this event. We've been teammates. We have a lot of fun together. So, yeah, it'll be a great battle. And against Alexandrova, she has had an incredible run and an incredible couple of months. It's been great to see how her game has evolved over the years, and the way that she's playing has been really exciting. So, I mean, no matter who I play, it's going to be a battle, and yeah, I just look forward to getting out there and playing in another semifinal.